So, George Foreman.
Yeah.
George Foreman has died at 76. Says he was surrounded by loved ones, but it doesn't really tell us much more than that. I've looked
really
around. That sounds to me like he was everybody knew he was dying. It wasn't something sudden. It says it's unclear whether he was sick before his death, but they keep putting out surrounded by loved ones.
Yeah.
So I think that's all they want us to know right now, and that's fine. But 76, George.
Wow, quite a career he had.
I'm trying to think, and I guess I could text him real quick. Either he had to cancel last year, and I think he was scheduled to be there again this year. I'm pretty sure that he was scheduled to be at the Gridiron Men's Conference.
Really?
Now I know he was last year, and I don't think it worked out. Something happened. Maybe he got sick. But somebody told me they thought he was coming back and rescheduled for this year.
I don't know.
But I could be wrong. But we could pull that up real quick.
But I was reading the article about it, and they talked about how much money he made off that grill.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Guys, I mean,
the grill was it.
Yeah. And I remember when he made his comeback, because he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is a joke.
Right?
Yeah.
And he was actually legit.
Yes.
He ended up winning the title.
Yes.
Over 100 million grills have been sold.
Golly.
At the time of his
100 million?
Yes, and after the time of his death, his net worth was $300 million.
Guys.
They think that there were about $200 million of that on the grill.
Don't you know the day they walked in and say, George, we got this grill here. We want you to endorse it, and we're going to have a big campaign. Wow. Boy, that worked out.
Hulk Hogan passed on it, by the way. They went to Hulk Hogan first.
Yeah,
if that's the case, I would lie and say, no, I didn't pass on
No, they
it.
never talked to me.
I watched the movie on George Foreman.
I did.
And we talked about it, and they had that moment. He goes in to try to seeing how they're doing. What can I do to survive? And his accountant says, your little grill thing's doing pretty well.
Pretty good. This grill deal's taking off.
And he was like, really? And he's like, oh, yeah, you're doing good. The grill was a good idea.
Very good idea.
So, but he
then he got into commentating after his career fighting, because you remember that we were too little. I'm not going to act like I remember when he fought him and Ali. I remember seeing it later and how historic it was. But, he was, his image, he was just rough. But when he came back, he was like somebody's granddad, and he was all lovable, but yet he could still punch.
Yeah. So he was scheduled to be at the Gridiron again this year.
Yep.
Man.
So,
what happened?
Michael Moorer, round 10. Here's George Foreman versus Michael Moorer. George Foreman was trailing on the scorecards, running out of time. A 45-year-old Foreman catches the 26-year-old undefeated heavyweight champ to regain his crown 20 years after losing it.
To me, that and you remember what? And they depict this in the movie correctly. His corner was telling him, not George's, Mike's corner. You've got this thing won. Don't go in there.
Stay away.
Just let the time run out.
Yes.
And he was embarrassed that he didn't knock him out. And he got in there to try to knock him out, and buddy, he paid a terrible price.
Wow.
Because George was tired, but he sure could still punch.
Boy,
he could.
He could still punch.
Sure could.
And Moore would not be satisfied with just winning and moving on, and it cost him. And I remember him doing this. I think ought to be. If it's not, it should be considered one of the greatest feats in sports history.
Right.
Being the heavyweight champion in your 40s.
Unreal.
Unbelievable.
That's
20
crazy.
years later, you regain it back.
Yeah. And he wouldn't leave him alone, and there it was. And there it was. So
wow, what are you doing?
He wouldn't leave him alone, and now he is out like a lot.
Wow.
He would not leave the old man alone.
1 minute left.
Old man strength.
He was tired.
And George could hit in his heyday, but as an old man, that old man strength, he can still hit.
Yes.
And can you believe that? If you are the undefeated champ's corner, you're just like,
buddy, the jab.
What is wrong with you?
You could have hid behind the jab for a couple,
What are you doing,
My
man?
goodness. Wow.
Big George.
Well, that cost him.
All right, so
Did y'all I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Did y'all have a George Foreman grill? Wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Still
did
have
not.
one.
No, I did not.
Still
I
have
had
one.
one.
I think I had a version.
I
have
had
one.
one. In college, I burned something happened. I had to throw it away.
Yeah.
You just
But
go
it was-
get another one.
Yeah.
It's a good way to make a grilled cheese if you want one.
Yes, great for that.
It's possible that I had one but didn't know it.
Sure.
I think I had something similar. Mine's different, I think.
So out of the 12 children, how many were the boys? All named George?
They were about at least 4, I think.
Yeah, a lot of Georges in there.
And he was married to his wife for over 40 years? Yeah.
Wow,
Well,
40-year marriage.
Yep.
Good thing he made all that money off that grill.
Yeah,
yes.
for real.
Let's see here.
Let's see. His kids.
5 sons.
5
7 daughters.
Good.
Lord help. Yeah.
7 daughters.
Yeah. And it here they are.
Wow.
It's a lot of them.
Yeah,
That's
a lot
a crowd.
of Georges.
That's a crowd.
All right, here's one that says 7 sons and 5 daughters.
Okay, so nobody knows.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it
It'd be easy.
could be wrong.
It's easy to get those mixed up.
People Magazine, who knows, it says 5 sons, 7 daughters. But
Yeah, here if you look here, it says 5 sons, 7 daughters, and then you look at another headline and it says Meet Foreman, 7 sons and 5 daughters. I think
they just got it mixed up.
I think the People Magazine probably accurate these others because it's not a very reliable source I see here.
Yeah.
So-
Either way, he's got a bunch of kids.
But
he was asked why he named them all George. He said so they would all have something in common.
That's
Okay.
a really good answer.
He boxed in Madison Square Garden against Doug Walheim in 1969. And then when he won the heavyweight championship again 20 years later, that was 1994.
unbelievable.
And I remember
Hold on. He also said, if you've been hit as many times as I have been, and he left Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, blah blah blah, you're gonna forget a lot of things. So I needed an easy name for all my boys.
That's good. Now that makes sense.
If I start to lose my memory, just call him, hey George.
That's so good.
One of them come.
Yeah, but they all went by their middle names, I hope. The George was not what they all went by. I hope.
But yeah, I did burn my foot on that George Foreman grill. That's why I had to get rid of it.
That's funny. Top of the hour. We'll be right back.
This is the Rick Burgess Show.